Hello, my name is Vea. I am here doing an unboxing. This is actually going to be the box that we use. It has all the items inside. It's going to tell you everything about Lawrence Kohlberg and his theories that he studied, which actually brings us to our first item in here. It's going to be this little guy. This is going to be Lawrence Kohlberg. This is who this represents. He was born on October 25th in 1927, and he died in January 1987. So he was most known for his moral development, as he divided it into 3 different levels and 6 different stages. His theory was based off of Jane Piaget, and his theory as well, that it just expands more on the moral development amongst children in most different ages. He also studied and taught at Harvard University. He was a professor for education and for social psychology as well. But diving more into his concept into the moral development and how he found it was through interviews, which actually brings us to our next item, which is going to be this notepad, which represents the interviews that he conducted to eventually find the way people base their judgments and their moral concepts on their decisions. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is this is going to represent the children that he conducted interviews with and represented it, and how he got most of his findings for the different levels and the different stages. So starting on the first level, there's 3, and each stage has 2 different stages. So the first one is going to be the pre-conventional level. So this level is based heavily on children who make their judgments and decisions based on their own interest, and or also on the punishment and rewards received by their parents or their authority figure, guardian. So this stage focuses on how when a parent or that parental figure sets a specific punishment or rewards, it can base children's own judgments and decisions into making that choice. So this can be an example of the rewards that they receive, which actually brings us into this. This little item actually represents the first stage of pre-conventional level, as that stage is concerned with the punishment and authority from the parent that they are looking up to, whether it's their parents, their teachers, an elder taking care of them, such as like their grandma or grandpa. It can be based off on what they're given as punishment or what they're given as reward as well. So if they know that they're going to receive a candy, this airhead right here, they'll base their moral concepts off of that, and that also helps the decision making. For that second stage, we actually have this mirror right here. It actually is going to represent how they make decisions also based off their own interests, which is also concerned about the rewards that they receive, as they can eventually take advantage of. For the second level of the moral development theory, Kohlberg named this one the conventional level. This one is more concerned with the relationships amongst society. So the relationships that they have with their peers, the relationships that they have with their parents, and other in the public, in the eye of the public. They are more concerned about what they think rather than their own interests. And it is at this level where they actually base their choices and judgments off of the rules and standards that they are conformed to be accepted by them. So this can actually be our representation of the society that they're wanting to please at this stage. So this is the people that they look to find their own moral compass at that point. So the third stage actually is more based off their group acceptance and the peer acceptance that can gain approval for their advantage. The fourth stage is more so obeying the law and basing their interest off of that to respect the higher value of the law, which actually brings us into to how they view society as well, which can bring us into our next item, which would be these glasses. So these glasses can also represent how they decide their decision based on their own perspective within the view of the society. So while they're looking at society, which is what represents that, these glasses are their perspective and how they make their own judgments within this stage. So whenever they do that, when abiding by the law, they don't take that interest from society, but they take their own interest in respecting the higher value of that. And level 3, this is called the post-conventional level, so it's more focused on the common good and the universal principles and morals that they believe in. So this is considered the most challenging level, as Kohlberg describes as well within his findings. So this is based off of the choices that they make by the law and also by their own moral concept. So for the 5th stage, this actually brings us to our last item in our unboxing. So this is going to be the Book of the Laws. So this is also very important in this stage, as whenever they are making a decision that is based off the law, they are wanting to abide by it, not just respecting it, but they want to follow that standard and that rule for themselves. For the 6th stage, they base it off their own principles. This can include equality, justice, liberty, and their own life as well. So that is also very important whenever this stage is being mentioned, because this is them actually finding their own moral compass and their own concepts and their own values, which is the 6th stage of the Kohlberg's theory. So that is kind of a rundown of each stage and each level that Kohlberg goes through and that he studied. Just to kind of conclude it, he does also mention that as each level has these 2 stages and the 3 levels, each individuals who go through this in their life, they can't actually bypass any specific stage or level. So they can't get to that 3rd post-conventional level without going through the pre-conventional or the conventional level. So that's also important to ensure that you know. But thank you so much for being here for my unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it.